All right,
I hate for all the people over
all right. All right, so
there.
I'm gonna call this meeting to
People
order.
are done when we start blasting.
It is 6 o'clock, no, 7 o'clock, sorry. So attendance, looks like everyone is here. I want to thank everyone for coming. I know we've had quite a few meetings in a short period of time. Probably will not call a March meeting unless there is something that comes up. Rick's not here with us tonight because, well, he's got a lot of going on and he wasn't expecting us to meet till later in the month. So, I talked with him. He's also working on the burn permit process and believe that he'd have something for us in the near future. So,
Do we need to put something in here for the minutes? Prove the minutes of
that's what I wanted to get to next.
that. It's not on here, but
Yeah, so we've got, Rosalie has provided the minutes for us today. Try to get those to you earlier so that everyone can kind of go through them before the meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Minutes are approved. Thank you again for doing that, Rosalie. So on the blasting permit, you have a copy of what we've come up with, based on the conversations we had at our last meeting. This is gonna go before planning. They are wanting to look at it again and the motion that was made at the end of the last meeting was for a document to collect information. That is this. We found out from the county attorney, there is no prohibition for planning to initiate a permit as long as there's no fee attached to it, because only the county commission can authorize fees to be charged. So planning has the option and they wanting it to come back to them to vote on this as creating a permit. So it won't just be a document to get information. You'll have to have this document completed in order to blast.
There's no downside to this.
I brought it up at executive. The only downside I've heard, Mr. Gully brought up the point of it is additional permit, and with everything else that is on Rosalie at this point, just one person in that office. He didn't see a reason for us having a permit when the state already regulates it. I explained to him that coming out of these meetings, it's not a matter of enforcing, it's a matter of gathering the information and having it here locally. And that's the whole purpose.
because there are people who call us, not call the state,
Exactly,
because they won't get out the state.
No,
They won't answer the phone.
exactly. And so we're not asking them to do anything beyond what they're already doing. We're just asking them to provide the information. Now, I know we've got the new permit software that's coming online that you'll be able to use. Will you be able to use that with this so that they can just submit everything electronically?
If that's what we want to do, in fact, I've got, working with her again tomorrow.
Mhm.
And I'll bring this up and send it to her saying, look, we'd like an additional permit to be added to this and put this on there.
Because if we do that, then all they have to do, they can put all their information in online. All Rosalie has to do is go down their checklist. Okay, yep, they got everything. And then she can send the information out to each department head and it's done. I mean, you're talking maybe 15 minutes worth of work and it's already there set up.
I will say, if I may stop you for a
Please,
moment.
yes.
I did work with Jones Brothers in getting their information and very, very accommodating. So the information that I did receive from them from the state fire marshal's office is not a state fire marshal license. And in fact, it even says on here, this is not a license. And it's like, okay, so maybe we need to word it differently on our permit.
Okay.
It's an explosive users registration certificate. And it's definitely for Jones Brothers and it's through the Department of Commerce and Insurance. And so this is probably what we need to log on our blasting
Okay.
permit.
So that would be in place of the fire marshal license.
Yes.
Should I get the correct wording on there?
And the only thing that I don't quite have from them is the handler's card and driver's license. I do have their names there'll be two different individuals, and I do have their telephone number, and I have their handler's card number that they have registered with the state. I just don't have the actual document from it.
Well, I mean, why would you need a driver's license if you have their glasses?
Positive ID.
Yeah, this individual.
I mean, if anybody can put it up, though, you have somebody's driver's license.
Well, do you handle any other information like that, any of the other permits?
Driver's license?
Yeah.
We do not.
Okay.
There has been a recommendation, made for gathering social security numbers in case we ever need to,
Verify information that way,
well, receive, legal
so you can track it.
methods, but
You kind of, thanks a lot. I don't know, what do y'all think about that one? I mean, I can understand that why the other documents had it on there, for it's positive identification, and so you can track the individual down. But the handler should be pretty much covered underneath the employer's insurance, and it's the employer's insurance that we would have to go after.
well, maybe, and I'm sure the state is going to be documenting, okay, who's the person that is gonna be in charge of the explosives?
So what's to stop us from asking for a? What's to stop us from asking for a, instead of a social security number, asking for the employer's business ID, copy of the business license, business ID stuff.
Oh, well, I don't need the social security numbers for
They
this.
just talk, this is just
Somebody recommended.
what
that.
was the driver's license.
The script
um,
was written in.
But if you're going after them and their insurance, I'd want to get their, also I'd know what their license number. Rate state.
Who's got it?
Yeah, that should be with their explosive users regulation.
Well, I've got
registration.
that. I've got their certificate of insurance.
Mhm.
I also have where they are registered. with the federal government.
Okay.
Like I said, they've been more than gracious.
So with those three documents, that should give us enough information for what we're wanting to do. And then for them to be able to give us, a heads up of when they're gonna be blasting. So we have, if something happens, we have the information to contact them or to hand out to whoever gets damaged. And then this document just makes them aware of, here's the limits of where you can blast there at the bottom. And, they have to give contact information of when they're gonna be blasting and where. Cause I'm looking at this not as a document just pertaining to Enbridge or just pertaining to Jones Brothers, but smaller contractors out here putting in swimming pools and propane tanks underground and, who think, well, it'd be cheaper just to blast it than to rent off
Well, they had
rock
that,
salt
if that much wins their case over yonder.
or quarries. I mean, I'm not looking at this because of one particular incident, and I don't think anything should ever be brought up for codes and zoning over one particular entity.
No.
This should be something that is looked at as across the board, any type of blasting. There's a reason why we need the information. So are y'all wanting to just remove the driver's license part and satisfied with the information that they're providing by the other three documents?
Yeah, if there's an incident, there's enough information contained on those three documents to get everything.
Okay.
You guys agree?
Mhm.
Agree.
You both do that or just,
No, I mean, we're discussing on how to build this document.
Okay.
Once we have this squared away, I'd like to hear a motion to, move it forward, whether y'all
Make a
want to
motion
or
to move
not.
it forward to the full commission.
Well, is there anything, other adjustments y'all want to make before we take that?
well, thing I list that hurts part of that. I
You
mean,
got anything else?
I think it's pretty hard to blast if you're not supposed to. Anyway,
I mean, this isn't telling them they can't blast. This is just saying, hey, you gotta give us this information before you do.
and they gotta have their ducks in a row before they.
Long before they come to
Whether
us.
they're here.
most of the time, there's a, well, not all the time, but there's a state inspector that's always around. They inspect everything they're doing. where they're putting the rock, if they're putting it deep enough or putting in enough. I dealt with that year when I was a young guy.
Yeah.
Putting in a pipe, a water line, up 141, I did inspector studied on this, want to make sure the tank is dry.
That's why we got away from.
But he'd take a break, so he get,
Those
those
are the
are,
inspectors and.
at either something we
So we
put
could-
in miles, just hold it there to it.
I will
Alright.
say this, the feedback that I received from Jones Brothers, because I did ask, I said, look, you know, basically you're our guinea pig.
Yeah.
And then thank you so much
Yeah.
for this opportunity. Please give us feedback. What do you think? Is this enough information? Is there, you know, something else that you would add? And the feedback that we received is that this is a lot better than most in this area. So I think we're, you know, we're doing a big thing.
Did you kind of explain what our purpose of the document was, that we weren't trying to regulate them, we were just trying to.
Gather
Get
information,
you
case
information.
concerns.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, and you could see down here at the bottom too.
Yeah.
Everybody that's gonna be notified. you
Yeah.
know, And that's gonna make their job a little easier too, I believe.
I would think it would. I mean, it really kind of takes some of the headaches off of them. Of people, once they go blasting, all of a sudden the cops show up, fire department shows up, and then they gotta explain everything and kind of calm the situation down. All right, so I've got a motion. Do I have a second to move this forward onto the full commission? Second, all in favor? Any opposed? Any? Motion carries. All right, I'll get these two pieces addressed. And we did talk in our last meeting about a fee for this of $100. Is that still the prevailing thought on this? Or does that need to be adjusted? Or do we want a fee associated? If we don't associate a fee with it at all, planning can take care of this and pass it at their next meeting. I still would like to show.
I
it to the
suggest
commission.
go take it to planning with $100.
Well, if we have a fee attached to it, planning can't do anything but give their approval. If there's no fee attached, planning can just approve it and put it into play.
See, it don't make a difference to me.
So
I just look at
What's
it.
the other counties do?
other counties have $100 fee is what we were presented by GNRC. When they brought both Lebanon's and Goodlettsville's, and they were talking about some other counties. But they actually gave us the documents that they use. So I guess my thought is, we're already gonna take this to the full commission. Planning's gonna get it first. If planning votes to enact it, then it's done. What would go out of planning would be going to the full commission on the fee associated with it.
Did you start that?
Yes. So. Do we want to associate it? I guess the question is, do we want to associate a fee with this permit? If we do, then we'll send it with a fee attached to the full commission. We just be piggybacking what planning's doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think we should have a fee.
Is that
The
available?
fee, I think, will also help with the software, support the permit, because we do have to pay it.
Extra for the permit fee only. Okay, I appreciate that because that gives a justification. I don't want to have fees just to have fees. If there's not a reason for it, I don't think why you should have to pay a fee. But $100 per fee, I mean, and honestly, right now, yeah, we'll have, well, Jones Brothers won't have to pay it. They're already in progress. Enbridge would have to pay the $100 fee, but how much other blasting is? If the quarry comes in and they win their appeal, well, then there'd be quite a bit of blasting. That's another $100 there. You have any thoughts, Alan?
No, that's what I was gonna say, if we had how long it would be.
Or is that, I mean, I understand, but the big companies like that, $100 is nothing.
Oh, no.
But have a person out here gonna blast, put a basement in or something.
Well, but if $100 is
That's
gonna,
nothing anymore.
No,
if $100 is gonna hurt them, they don't have the insurance to cover
yeah,
the liabilities of what they're doing.
okay, no
That's
problem.
my thought on it.
All right, that's good.
I think too, having a fee associated with us lets the other entities know that we're serious about this. We value this document and the time that it takes to process it.
She's right.
All right, so I'll have, and that's It'll be $100 fee, good for 1 year. Is that what we're,
Like a year, too long? That's a
per
wild.
project? Would you go that way with it then?
Per phase.
Cause how do we do that with,
I'm just asking.
no, I am too. It's really a good discussion point here. Because for a project like the road,
6 months.
Well, you know what I'm saying? I might
Yeah.
come in here tomorrow and blast a little bit, and I might not blast again for another 8 months.
exactly,
Outside out of mine.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden,
and things change and whatnot. Then you have, say, like the quarry out here, they're gonna, if that passes and they get permission from the state to do that, they could be blasting every day.
Every day.
Well,
So do they
actually,
get a permit every week? Do they get a permit every year? How do we handle that?
they have to file a notification lasting 5 days ahead of when they blast.
Okay.
So we'll just have a standing thing going where it's every day.
And, I would think a year sounds pretty good because just like when they give us all this information, just like when I get any information from any contractor or engineer's letter, I verify everything. Is that insurance current? When does that, contractor license expire? And I think we need to be cognizant of that too.
Said something you think. We need to add. another piece of it. And that is if. Whomever the handler is changes, that it has to.
That's,
And during that year period. Cause say whoever's name is on the document. 2 months from now, he moves to Montana to work for another company that's doing this, because they're paying more money, and they got somebody else that's not documented.
Underneath the other person's license? I think that falls under the state's regulations there.
We're not asking for the handler.
Well, we removed that.
Handler's calling.
Yeah, that was removed. So we're just looking at the company's federal license, purchase, the blaster certificate of insurance, and the explosive users registration certification through the state.
now,
So that kind of puts everything on the state. That puts everything on the state, and we're just collecting the information. But it's up to the state to regulate it and to make sure everyone's on the up and up on the project.
but I like your train of thought because I think the 24-hour contact and phone that we do have listed here, I think if there is change in that, we need to
Must
be
be
notified.
24 hours or something.
Yeah. And I think that can be executed through your office. I think this gives you enough.
We just gotta have
Yeah.
rules letting them know that they have to do that.
Okay. So the issue we have though is we've already voted to take this document on to the full commission. We were discussing a fee to go with that, but the document's already been approved to go. So we would have to amend that motion, wouldn't we?
In the motion to
To
include.
Yeah.
If there's any changes in that, then it has to be. 24 hours.
or we can make the changes in planning. And then it can go on to the full commission.
Go do that, go that route, just bring that up.
Okay, so. All right, so that being said, now I'm not asking for changes to the document because we've already voted to send it up forward. But any guidance for planning that you would like for me to take on
That'd be it.
to. All right, so you're wanting to, what kind of verbiage are y'all wanting to do then on that?
If the 24-hour contact and phone. And the names, the contracts, the blasting contractor. If any of that changes, in the time that they issue or apply for this permit. They must notify any updates or any of those changes that notify the office within 24
And I'm
hours.
sure there'd be one guy that's in charge of the
Mhm.
blasting, but then he'll have several people under him.
I know, but if he that's an emergency contact. But if say he leaves and goes to work for another contractor.
Yeah.
That is, within 24 hours of blasting, that file must.
Or
be
he goes
updated.
on vacation and somebody else takes over.
Yeah, they just gotta update that within 24 hours of blasting.
All right, so I would encourage all of y'all to take a second and read the bottom paragraph and see if that doesn't take care of most of what we're talking about.
Does except for, like I said, once
Making
they
those changes.
make, you know, if somebody's, if the responsible person changes, they need to let us know. During that permit period.
Okay, so that could be something that can be added into that paragraph then.
On vacation, like
Yeah.
David said. Waiting for bereavement or anything like that, and whomever that responsible person, they have to know.
And they may come back and give you things to everybody that does, it's involved with it, but. They have, you know, people do.
Yeah, it's just, we gotta have 24-hour contact.
So the idea would be to add the verb. The suggestion for planning would be to add the verbiage you're describing after the first sentence there. Where it tells the applicant, the undersigned applicant agrees to comply with all applicable requirements as prescribed by the TCA. The standard fire prevention code and the national fire code as adopted by the state of Tennessee and Hartsville-Charleston County. Then we would put, you know, any changes, a 24-hour notice needs to be given to the planning office within.
24 hours of blasting if there's any
Okay.
changes. Or I'm just about that, yeah. that's- Can't even do that legally. Yes.
I'll take that to planning and see what they want to do.
And we talked about taking that out. I know.
We changed that. We did. If you'll look at it itself, now it says, if the answer is yes, you must notify the Charleston County Fire Department contact. It says nothing about a license or a fee or anything, because we don't have anything like that. So that was removed, but the fire chief should be, if they're gonna store stuff and a fire breaks out, the fire chief needs to know, hey,
He
there's
needs to know where all the
explosives.
magazines are, as they call those.
Yeah, but they get a copy of this anyway, so she knows that not a repeat.
It is, but
They have to acknowledge it with a checkbox.
yeah, and they have to directly notify him. So it kind of takes that off of Rosalie. So Rosalie can just send out an email,
He might be.
but Mark would get a direct call or a direct email to him.
And if we ever change the chiefs or anything, then we just need to give them that information.
Yes, then we just change that chief name and email on the document. Anything else?
For inquiring minds,
Yes.
the checkbox was checked, that it will not be exposed outside out there.
Thanks. So I was wondering. No magazine on
Weren't we all?
They'll bring in what they're gonna use on a truck.
Yeah.
binary, so it doesn't explode till they mix it.
That's right.
But in a facility like a quarry, they would have some on site, I would imagine. Just to keep from the back and forth.
Yeah, across the river, they would.
So, another question I wanted to bring as we're talking about this. Has anyone found out any more information about the landing spot they're wanting to do on that 38 acres? Or their, how do they say it? Their pad for equipment on the, Carmen property that they bought? They're off of Starlight, that backs down to the
They
project.
go down the road.
That'll make nice.
And I think, well, they're filling in now.
Yeah.
But it'd be a while before they get to where they can come right down.
What now?
So they,
They bought property from the Carmens,
Who's they?
Jones,
Jones Brothers. It's just nothing but rock.
There's no water to it. I mean, it really is just rock of
They
Starlight.
said, yeah, matter of fact, I own a whole bunch of that rock up there. On my property, but, they gonna just blast it and haul it right down and go right down on a new road, and they go either direction. Where it needs to be taken. They'll have a utes, whatever, to haul it with.
So my concern, and I'm gonna try to get with GNRC and have them look into it and probably reach out to Mr. Beller for his opinion. So, because that would directly affect, I would think, the quarry appeal. If we allow Jones Brother to essentially create a rock crusher, which would be a quarry on agricultural property, that validates our argument that the quarry can't be on agricultural property because of zoning.
Jones Brothers not charging nobody,
They're not.
and that over yonder, they'll charge people for the gravel.
So does that change the definition of a quarry? Because they're
I
not,
don't know, you may have to find,
that's what I want to look into to find,
They did discuss that at the planning commission meeting, specifically asked GNRC to send an email about that. You know, if somebody is doing this and say, well, if it is in support of the bridge and the road, then they're allowed to do that.
so that's part of kind of an eminent domain, kind of the state has that authority to make those calls. That's what I wanted to, I never heard
Different,
of
it's not
that.
for hire, than it's just, it's in support of that project.
I know one of the people that has some property out there, they tried to get Jones Brothers to lease it.
Yeah.
They didn't want, they wanted to buy it.
Yeah.
They, because he wanted the land back,
Mhm.
but they didn't want to do it that way. They wouldn't work out what they wanted.
Well,
They said no.
if they own that and you're done out there, it's all kind of rock, are they gonna be hauling it other places?
That's a concern because they won't be able to. Now, if you think about other road projects they've
There's a lot
done,
of it on site.
I know,
so you, if you're on if you're on 40, you're getting on 840 heading to Murfreesboro. There's that huge little, I mean, it's a lake at this point.
Yeah.
That is the quarry that they dug out for the road. They left, it just fills with water and that's it. I'm guessing on this particular property, because it's a hillside, it's just gonna be an indentation into the side of the hill,
There'd be some water sand in there, but not.
just because it's rock.
Now,
bottom, nothing
on the
dirty.
planning, can't think of her name, she's
Heather
airport.
Yeah.
She was bitching about that over
The way
there.
at Wilson
They come in
County.
and done that to them and left that hole there.
Heather Ray,
Yeah, she was, her complaint from being the director of the airport there. Her problem was they created a wetland. For that, of course, attracts wildlife, flying wildlife next to an airport. That doesn't respond well to flying wildlife,
Yeah,
so,
oh, that's on the south side of the interstate.
yeah, well, no,
Yeah,
actually,
there is a wetland there that was not there before, they created a marsh.
this particular one is behind, Wilson County Motors there. They dug a hole to get gravel out for leveling their, for site prep. When they came back to expand that, they said no, so Wilson County Motors just went further deeper. So now it's a fairly deep filled in quarry, little lake back there. And so,
There's one south of the
but
interstate.
there
too.
is,
It's
Yeah.
right on the interstate, they created a wetland there too, that wasn't there.
further up, going back towards one, yeah. So, and that was my concern with that is,
sounds like a tree.
yeah, it does. So. We don't really have, in our ordinance, when we came up with a quarry ordinance, once again, a lot of our ordinances are left. For interpretation, because we don't have a lot of, as we found with Rick when he's brought stuff to us, the lack of definitions. In our ordinances
Is the problem.
causes a problem. At the same time, you hear the county attorney say, well, but you don't want to be too specific. Because then it keeps you from being able to infer other things in your definition. I really don't know where to go with it, so I've just kind of left it be. If this body wants to do something beyond that, I'm always open to any motions that come out of this body. But I get nervous when we start getting into stuff like that, because the unintended consequences, I guess, is what you can run into. The other thing we had on the agenda, if there's no other discussion on this, was the burn permit. As I was saying earlier, Rick responded back to me when I let him know about the meeting, and, letting us know that he wasn't gonna be here. He confirmed that the fire chief had reached out to him and that he was putting something together to bring before us for the fire chief. I believe that's going to probably be March. I don't know how y'all feel. I mean, we've had several meetings back to back trying to get this done and kind of get it in place as soon as possible. I know it's a lot to ask on y'all, we've pretty much been having about every 2 weeks. I know personally, I'm tired of meeting all the time. I know y'all have other meetings that you have to attend and other outside stuff. Y'all want to have a March meeting or,
If we need to get the burn permit, yeah,
okay,
I think so, no trouble. Go ahead and get this done, cause Bill, he needs it.
Yeah.
I mean, Beeler does, according to what he said the other night.
according to what he said the other night, so it would still be something that, you get something
Especially, I don't
commission.
like people, and I've seen them.
Yeah.
Burning garbage.
Yeah.
In town here. In a can, when they got access to it.
I will let everyone know that it has been brought to my attention. There have been complaints about our discussion on limiting trash being burned in a barrel in the city. So,
It's been brought to my attention in a big way.
there will be some pushback on this. So if we are going to put forth permit, we've got to have solid reasoning for it. And honestly, just common sense exceptions. I mean, if you want to have a fire pit in your backyard, to
That's fine.
spend, quality time with your kids. I mean, it's not an open burn. I mean, those are all
It's contained.
enclosed and contained fires. That's not what Mark was talking about.
It's.
They pay garbage. They pay for it.
They
we should make
When they
one-
pay the water bill, they pay for it.
No, it's not that. It's just,
Brush and clippings and things like that.
If they throw it in their fire pit, then
Yeah.
I don't see why they couldn't. But that's something we'll discuss when we have something in writing to discuss.
I've got a brush pile sitting on top of a bluff, big old bluff rock. I had. Mark said the other evening, you have my permission to burn it. It's sitting on that rock. You can burn it.
Well, even with the burn permit, he did say, we would give the fire chief the
land.
ability to grant.
They've been burning some big ones out there. Jones Brothers has.
Well, and technically they're outside the city limits, so
I
this
know.
permit wouldn't apply to them, but
No,
these are some things I want y'all thinking about if we do pick this up in March.
Well,
these
Right
are-
now, there's nothing in place.
There is,
Then, so right now,
Well,
nobody is technically.
I take that back. Technically, there is an ordinance on the books regarding burn permits and what that constitutes. The problem we have, and is what Mark has found, why he's asking us to do this, no one can find it in writing. It's only verbal from fire chief to fire chief. No one can find the written copy.
I think
And
when
there
we
was-
had that flood over yonder,
That was the
I believe
assumption.
all the records of the city we had down there probably got destroyed there.
Because if I remember correctly, the date he found that the motion was made and it was passed was mid to early 90s.
1993.
There you go. So 1993. So, yeah, that was before we were Metro. And yeah, that very well might be where a lot of those documents came up missing. So talking to the executive committee, letting them know that we were starting this process of working on this, I let them know that either the full commission either needs to, adjust or approve what we bring forward, or rescind that out of the ordinance, because there is an ordinance there. You either have to remove that ordinance or adjust or accept what we bring forward to give the ordinance verbiage. Does that make sense? I tend to ramble it sometimes.
I don't know exactly what it says, so we're gonna put this in and take place.
Exactly. It'll be kind of an in lieu of whatever was done, this would replace that. I don't remember Mark mentioning as far as a value on any fee for the permit. That is just a way of documenting where the burn's taking place and who's burning. And how long.
Well,
we
if you
plan.
ain't got no punishment fee,
Well, now,
they'll
a
do it.
fine for violating, that's one thing, but a fee to just get the permit,
yeah.
I mean, I think,
I
for
would-
some reason, the number $20 keeps popping in my head, but I can't remember if he actually said that.
I don't remember it either, but
Yeah, but I can understand a penalty for violating,
Yeah.
not getting a permit, even the state has that. And if you wouldn't mind, Rosalie, if you could look to see what that fine is for burning without a permit. If we, because that way, if we just match the state's fine, then that just puts us in line with them. I can understand Mr. Gully's point of not wanting to create more regulation, more work for Rosalie to do. At the same time, if the school district gets 100 more kids, they're the first ones to come to us needing money for teachers. We've got 30,000 more people in this county. It costs a little more to manage the county. We're getting denser and denser in the urban, even out in the rural, we're getting denser and denser. You gotta have some way of maintaining order in the county without it being an overreach and a stifling of development and, well, just property rights.
As far as burn, I can see the safety concern of it. I can also see somebody have a little pile of brush and want to burn it.
So that's something I think we need to look into of what's a way we can accomplish both goals. Where they're burning safely and they have the freedom to do it. A distance, some of the properties in town, I mean, they've got an acre. Some of them only have a quarter or less of an acre. Some R3s where houses are kind of stacked right beside each other. You don't want someone burning right beside your house. I get that.
What about the new, like, contractor building new houses?
Yeah.
Cleaning up their leftover material.
And everything that the fire chief was mentioning was open burning. Where it could spread and get away. So if
That
they're
is what
doing,
the burning.
if they're doing it in a controlled environment, where the
It's not
fire
controlled.
can't, but I understand. What he was talking about. My point is, if they were to do it in a controlled way, then it's not open burning.
That's what, someone said a barrel is.
A barrel is a controlled,
It is or isn't?
well, it is. I
I
mean,
thought they said it was.
That's why I heard it.
that a barrel was not considered controlled. Cause if rocks around a fire pit,
I just, that's just.
But rocks on a fire pit, you're burning wood. If you're a barrel is in the backyard, they're burning trash.
What if you burn scraps,
yeah,
lumber scraps in a barrel?
But then they burn vinyl siding, they burn their Celtex, and they burn Tex, and they burn.
so then it's not the fire necessarily spreading horizontally, it's embers and whatnot going up
Yeah.
and catching and spreading vertically.
Building materials.
That's one of those,
Well, they built a house right next door to me. Those guys, I looked out there one day and they had a blaze and fire in that backyard. Their scraps and cardboard, vinyl siding and shingles and all kinds of stuff. It was, the flames were higher in the back of the height of the house. I was like,
every house that's been built, and
Burning Man going on.
yeah, I was like, wow, look at that.
every house that's been built in, around me, every contractor burns their scraps in the front yard.
That's just it. They just do.
And throw the beer cans in there.
The carpenter signed up one time and that we burn our stuff up, we got done.
So, and I get it, it's a cost-effective way of doing it. Also, that stuff that doesn't end up in the landfill and the county doesn't have to pay to take it to Carthage. So I understand the safety aspect of it, and I can understand the contractor side of, help me out here. So I'd like to find a compromise in there where it's not a thing of you can't do that, it's, we just need to know you're going to be burning.
You notice when they have a tornado and all that stuff in there. Most time they're hauling or
Yeah.
grinding it up and hauling it off.
Yeah.
But they're not burning it in
Exactly.
these towns, even though.
Yeah.
Some of the houses. should be just burned up, but
Well,
they don't do it. but-
And even in the county, this last tornado that came through Castellian Springs, the county came through and took all that up, hauled it off, and then they ground it and disposed of it. I don't know with our county, with Public Works, has even the manpower to do something like that, but,
They have a grinder.
They do have a grinder.
You lay it out on the side of the road, they'll come by and grind it up, take it on the way.
Not real.
not very often.
No, but you have to call them, don't you?
No, it says clearly on there not to call about it.
Just think, they're not gonna take care of it.
Maybe
Exactly.
once a year,
If
that's
they're-
not
If they have
defined.
somebody they can.
If the county's not gonna come and pick it up, it makes it really hard to tell someone, well, you're just out of luck.
I've noticed that my way though, they're pretty regular coming through and doing it.
Okay.
And I mean, people put out stuff
Yeah.
where it's flowed down
Mhm.
and it's been pretty, not stay there very long.
So,
One thing.
trying to keep the commissioners area.
Keep that commission there, please. I doubt it.
Was there anything else, that anyone wanted to bring before us? Like I said, I just wanted to throw that out there while we're waiting to actually get something in writing on the burn permit stuff. Some things to be thinking about, some questions to be pondering, so that when we talk with Rick and talk with Mark, we can actually have a productive meeting and kind of get some stuff, kind of straightened out. Because the commission's gonna ask these same questions, and I'd like to be able to have some answers for them, where we did our due diligence putting this stuff together. Anyone have anything else? Well, do you have anything, Rosalie?
Permitting is starting to pick back up. January was a little slow, and then, well, the admin building was closed for a couple of days
Yeah.
to inclement weather, but, the last 2 days, I've written, close to 12 permits. New
Wow.
buildings.
So is all residential again?
Not all residential, but some are accessory structures, but, some new houses.
Well, now,
Yeah.
what's the biggest area? Everywhere?
Well, still out there on Bass Road, moving houses and things like that. And then way out in the rural too.
When we have 12 or 13 in fact. I think we're ready.
I know you can, as you're going out to, the four-way, you can see them now across the field. They're going up Bass Road where Fleming's development is, they've got houses just about on every lot now.
Fleming
pretty
and
nice.
he's,
Yeah.
oh, they're
Oh,
beautiful
Fleming,
guys.
So they gonna put them together in a heart quick.
But that really has increased the population down that road. And that's gonna start spreading east. They came in and talking with Rosalie, they were very impressed with the quality of land in the area. And so they're looking at buying up more land and doing this in other places. So we're getting national building companies coming in to Charleston County now. So we've got to, as a county, we gotta stay ahead of this development and help direct it. Or it's just gonna get away from us and we'll have more expenses and no idea how to pay for them. We're in a bad enough shape where we're at now.
My wife's got 11 acres in Green Road. They let it sell one.
And that's another thing. You can't tell a property owner not to sell the property. If they're gonna make money on it, I mean, who can fault them? All right, so
We raised 2 grandkids, so.
if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right,